In 48 hours, I take my final exam to become a licensed pilot. I've passed every flight test, except the one that keeps you alive when the propeller stops. So I asked my instructor for one last brutal lesson. I told him to try and catch me off guard. We took off from our home base in my Air Creation Tanarg Neo. The plan today is simple. Emergency landings. My pilot's exam is coming up, and while standard landings are feeling good, doing it with a dead engine still gets in my head a little bit. So my instructor and I headed over to a local grass strip because if the engine actually quits on you in the real world, you don't get a massive paved runway. You get whatever piece of grass happens to be underneath you. I had to bank hard to get lined up with the runway. Muscling a heavy trike through sharp turns like that is intense. My arms were screaming. Next run, we took it up to 1700 feet. We leveled off, and without warning, he reached up and hit the kill switch. At 1700 feet, losing your engine actually gives you a luxury. It gives you time. You have roughly 2 minutes of pure gliding to watch the wind, pick your descent rate, and put the wheels on the grass. My instructor sat with his hands in his lap the whole way down. It was a textbook touchdown. And right there is usually the exact moment aviation decides to remind you that you don't know everything.
There I go.
On the fourth attempt, we started an idle approach from the base leg, and I misjudged it. I came in slightly out of balance, dropped the left wingtip to fix it, and touched the grass with my left wheel first. You can see my instructor holding up his hand right after showing me the angle of the wing. On dry grass like today, you get away with that. On wet grass, a side load like that grabs the tire and tries to roll the whole cage over. We didn't even park. We pushed the throttle forward and took off right back over the crops. Five seconds later, silence. This is the worst place an engine can quit. You're too low to turn back to the runway. If you bank hard here, the inside wing loses lift and you drop like a stone. You have to swallow your pride, keep the nose level, and land straight ahead in the field. Watching those crop stalks get closer and closer goes totally against your survival instincts. At 10 meters off the deck, my instructor commanded to climb out. He told me the landing setup was correct. For the last run, we set up an idle landing from a completely inconvenient position. Too high, too tight, with a lot of extra energy to bleed off. I was making turn after turn trying to dump altitude without gaining excess speed. It started getting messy, and my instructor had to get his hands on the bar to help me manage the glide slope. The air was full of thermal updrafts today. Normally that's a pilot's best friend, but when you're actively trying to get down, it ruins your mat. The rising air acts like an invisible cushion, holding the wing up, stretching out your glide ratio. You realize pretty quick that the textbook only gets you halfway to the ground, the rest is just flying the atmosphere. It wasn't pretty. It was an ugly working class landing. But we put it safely on the ground. And after that, we both decided we'd had enough adrenaline for one afternoon. I don't think any pilot is ever truly ready for a real engine failure. But as that propeller spun down to rest, I knew I was ready for the exam.